In a world where sports tend to rule your entertainment over the weekend, we seemingly have found a way to draw musicians into it. Something that has led to FIFA, the major football playing body of the world, to think about trying to import entertainment, mixing it with football. I'm talking about the Super Bowl 60, and it's happening this weekend. And guess who's performing on the halftime show? It's the man Bad Bunny, who was just a couple of days ago on the Grammy stage screaming at ICE, saying, "It's about time you stop oppressing the Latinos." Donald Trump is not pleased about that. Donald Trump, allegedly after seeing those who are going to be performing during the halftime show, says, for this particular Super Bowl, I'm going to set it out. Well, if Super Bowl ain't your turn this weekend, there are other interesting things as well. Manchester United will look to, as much as possible, continue and try to steamroll and roll over a Tottenham Hotspur who have an impeccable, arguably, away record. Then we get to see that fascinating tie. Under the man Klopp, it used to be a tie everyone looks up to. But under Slot, would Pep be the man to annihilate him in this recent resurgence that he seems to have gotten? This and a lot more we've got on the plate for you today. Welcome, one and all. This is Off the Cuff right here on MX24 TV. Remember, we're streaming live on X at MX24GH. My name is SEDI. And you can add the Eddie, and I respond, yes, boss. I will go for a quick turnaround. When we come back, I'll tell you who's holding us down, and I'll introduce the guys because they're back, and we're about to do this live. You want to fix your FPL team? Stick and stay. Yeah, you missed me last week. Oh, don't worry. It was all greens, so I'm about to spread more greens so you get infected. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back from the break. My name once again is SEDI. This is Off the Cuff Friday on MX24 TV. Again, we're streaming live on our own app at mx24.app or also on X at MX24GH. So it's brought to you kind of sketchy. Betway always ensuring that you prime to get way more than you bargained for. You can become the next biggest betting influencer. You see, a lot of people are collecting tanks. Oh, Chairman, thank you. You have helped me sort out this bill. All because of Betway Influencer. Yeah. And you can actually become the next person to receive such accolades and also build reputation for yourself in the betting industry by just simply doing one thing. Logging on to www.betway.com.gh. Stake a bet. Share the booking code with the entire world, and anyone who also stakes their bet using your booking code, you earn 4% of whatever they wager, whether the bet ends up winning or losing. Once they stake, you earn cool cash. Just go ahead to betway.com.gh and let the game flow. But remember, no under 18 betting. Terms and conditions always do apply, regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. With Betway, you guaranteed to always get way more. We also held down on the data side of things by Telecel, and Telecel are always ensuring that you are getting more than you pay for. So now for previous prices, you get 10% improved data than you used to get. For instance, remember you used to pay some 400 Ghana CDs and then you get 190 gigabytes of non-expiry data? Oh yeah, that one. Now it's been bumped up to 250 gigabytes of non-expiry data for the same 400 Ghana CDs. Also, other packages are available depending on the amount of money you want to spend on data this minute on the Telecel platform. So simply pick up your cell and dial *700# or *530# and enjoy all the goodies on the platform, because on Telecel, constantly connecting energies. As we are connecting energies, you've got to always live a good life, and Jibu Water gives you that opportunity to drink water that will not bring any issue to you, water that will not make you second guess yourself, water that is actually hygienic for your consumption. That is Jibu Water. Comes in various shapes, sizes. You might wonder, what is shapes and sizes? Don't worry, there's a 20-liter jar. Yeah, big enough for you. Yeah, you want, and it comes with its own tap, and also 18.9 liter for those who want the dispenser side of things. And also there are mini bottles for your consumption. You want to be drinking 5 liters, you want to go for jogging and be holding 5 liters and be jogging and hydrate. Oh, Jibu has got you sorted. So just go out today to your favorite shops and get Jibu water, because with Jibu is always a better life. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're about to get a show on the road. Welcome once again. Introducing my guest this morning. Far corner, interesting thing, both of them are in white. First person, brother in the cup, he goes by the name Nana Kwame Osei. How have you been? Everything cool? Everything all right?
Everything cool, Sedi. Everything nice.
Everything nice, yeah.
It's been an interesting week. A certain country turned into fashion police.
And say it well. Good afternoon to our Zambian brothers. You don't worry, we'll come to you.
And speaking of brothers and sisters, I think when was it? Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening? The legend Kina Yusuba came here when last week Thursday. People were emulating him by saying,
gentlemen.
Kai.
When the Chelsea fans are telling me in my ears that you want to talk to them directly. Don't go to the Kina Yusuba route, no problem. Now, also, second brother in the cup, also in white. His name is Jesse Ankra, a.k.a. the football theorist, a.k.a. the football... It's okay. Cousins and professors. Tell how are you?
Charles, I'm good. What about you?
Hey.
Producer is saying something.
Oh, yeah. The football, is it Casemiro? The football cousins. The cousins. Everything fine.
It's good to be back to back. Like how Manchester United recent form is portraying. It's good to be back, Sedi.
Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I know not what they speak of, but I'm here to just get into the conversation. Guys, let's get it off this way. Charlie, let's start off from the local front. Let's talk about the MTN FA Cup. We know that next weekend, don't worry, next week Sunday, there is the Super Clash. Yeah, it is the Komike Kenae versus Yepe Fufonia Benkwine. Yeah, it is Hearts versus Kotoko. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Super 2. Yeah, that is biscuits or Inquine or Pepe. I don't know, but we'll talk about it. But speaking about what has been the most pivotal issue on the local front, even before we talk about the MTN FA Cup, has been the fact that we were all minding our business when a friend of mine, Ade, put out a tweet that when I saw the tweet, I said, this matter that we all know, you have gone to raise, no problem. So apparently a goalkeeper who is signed onto a contract with a club, specifically Heart of Lions, their first goalkeeper, his name is Osei. Yeah. He signed on to a contract with Heart of Lions until the year 2027. He went on to accumulate some cards, got himself suspended, went AWOL. Fans were asking for his whereabouts. Next thing we see, he's posting. Where is he posting from? Obi Manso. Apparently, he has gotten years and years of visa. Yeah, so the visa, I'm not allowed to mention the number of years, but some cool number, you understand? Cool number. So currently he has put the whole thing on hold and he has gone to the States. As if the picture was not enough, he has entered the system with a video. He has put through a video. Yeah. So we are still waiting for his club to say a thing. I've been checking on them, and no one is saying a thing. The club, Heart of Lions, cannot be this quiet. Now, Kwame, let me start off with you. Is it that the 1 million Ghana cedis that was provided for each and every club did not solve the main thing was meant to solve, which was keeping the players here for a much longer period? Yes, so that is our man, Mr. Osei. Now we'll call him Mr. Osei. Yeah. So former Black Galaxies first goalkeeper. Right now, the Black Galaxies too, it has in local parlance term Egu. Why? Because CAF says there's no chance again So it has Bogu. Yeah, so right now you have to go and play and get into the proper team itself. No problem. But so that's our chairman there. Yeah, he's in the States. Me, I'm not. As the video that I saw, see, he was in this car, then he's in that car, he's in that car, he's in that. Hey, and then you have family out there. Oh, have family. Oh. Then we'll get to you anyways. But now, Kwame, is it that the 1 million Ghana series did not actually solve what it was meant to alleviate?
I think the obvious answer is no. And not just because of this incident in isolation. Other teams will testify to this. Chief amongst them, 11 Wonders. When news broke that they were owed salaries, how many months? 2, 3, I don't know how many months allegedly.
It was 2.
That was enough evidence that no, the 1 million Ghana cedis either is not enough, or the respective club board chairman or authorities, let me put it that way, are using it for different purposes. Because how? If you are paying, let's say the players, it's 1 million Ghana cedis. Let's say you are paying every player 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Hey.
Or 5,000. I'm not saying it's the exact.
Okay.
I'm using it as an example. 10,000 times 23 will be how much?
10,000 times 23. That would be some 230,000.
Where you are. And it's not like they're paying them 10,000 in reality. So what is going on?
No, but the amount of money was meant for the entire season. By the way you're saying it, if they give them that money, the money will finish right now.
And that is the thing. It is not enough.
Okay, it is not enough.
In any case, I'm not saying it for a fact, but he's likely going to see greener pastures, obedi dollars. And we know the current economic situation. I'm not trying to absolve him of any problem. But then, another angle. You say Heart of Lions hasn't spoken out about this.
Yeah, I've been checking their channels.
Let me use the overused bar. Something smells fishy. Aquarium.
Oh, no aquarium. At this point in time, no, I don't think any aquarium will be fishy.
Because how is it that your own player has gone AWOL? You've not spoken about it. What is going on with Heart of Lions? With all due respect, please, if there's anything going on, they should tell we, the public. I don't understand why. I mean, if you are so quiet about this, that means what? You don't care about your players' welfare or what? And then the PFAG, that's the welfare body. I don't think they've spoken about it either.
No, but what would you expect the official player body, welfare body to say about this? What would you be expecting them to say?
No, if not speak out, at least make a check with Heart of Lions.
Speak out about what exactly? Because it's not like the player. So the player has invariably, there has not been any communication to the fact that the contract has been terminated. So there's, at this point, we can only say that there's a possible breach of contract. Possible breach of contract. But aside that, welfare reasons, where would you expect the player welfare body to step in?
At least
here?
to make, at least say like, not like say something like, check in with the club that we've heard your player so and so. What is happening here? At least, if not be an alternative dispute body, something else. Because remember, this is not the first time. I remember 2 Sudanese players who disappeared. The players Kotoko brought when they traveled to the United States and they disappeared like magicians. Something needs to be done to how I say it in stem the. This cannot be happening too many times. This is the second time. It's too many times in my opinion.
Nice. So if you're doubting me that the club is here to say anything, let me tell you what they have been doing on their X handle. In the last 3 days, their X handle has posted the standings of the Ghana Premier League. And then 4 days ago, that was when they were posting photos of what happened over the weekend when they played Kotoko. Now, bring it down to what happened a day ago. Let me quote. club announcement. We are delighted to confirm the transfer of Samuel Boama Kwanzaa to the Kenyan Premier League Police Force FC on a season-long loan deal. We thank Boama for his dedicated service, and wish him well. A player is going for loan, you are wishing him well. We understand. Why are you guys?
Maybe it's a loan with obligation to buy.
No, there's no. Okay, so they did not put there that there's obligation or not, but he has gone to Police FC. They're actually one of the best teams in Kenya. Yeah, if you actually do a lot of football calculations and mathematics, you'd understand that side of things in the world. But still, as of yesterday, they've still not said anything about it. The club has still not said anything about it. So
which is
very, very interesting at this point. I don't know. But my sources in Pando tell me that the fans are demanding for an answer. Jesse, how did we get here again?
Sedi, I think Heart of Lions is one of the teams in the Ghana Premier League that I have realized that over the years they are very accountable to the fans. In as much as the information is little, they try to convey the message to the fans. You recently, in just a few minutes, you said that a player was going out on loan, and then they came out to communicate that even on their social media handle. So with this projection and with what we have seen so far, it means that then what happened with Osei, who traveled, there hasn't been a contract termination. Because if for nothing at all, the Heart of Lions that we know should have come out to communicate that we have parted ways with Mr. Osei, as you put it. But then nothing like that has been done. If that is what we are going by, then I believe that that is some sort of unprofessionalism on the part of the player, on the part of the club also, and on the part of the governing body also. Because, mind you, this is not the first time a player just gets up and runs away from a team.
He ran away?
We saw that from Kotoko.
The Sudanese. The two Sudanese players.
Running away from the team. Does it mean that there's no proper embodiment of rules to govern such a thing? How many times have we heard that in the English Premier League? That a player wakes up one day and walks out of a team. As a matter of fact, contracts are legal basis to bind someone's actions when they are in a team. So if for nothing at all, I think that Heart of Lions have the legitimate right to be able to take legal actions against the player. But then if for now, nothing has been said, then I don't know the kind of actions Heart of Lions wants to take. These are assumptions, and then we will have to wait for official communication from the club Heart of Lions, because a club as standard of Heart of Lions cannot be that negligent to allow a player to just leave, communicate nothing to the player, to the fans, and then we are still here. Let me give an example. We've seen Enzo Fernandez in Chelsea. We wake up one morning, Enzo Fernandez picks his bag, he's flighting his straight for somewhere in Saudi Arabia, and then Chelsea says nothing about it. Chelsea is comfortable. They just move Romeo Latvia to his position and they are okay. And the fans are not even saying anything. You see how very, very absurd this thing sounds like. This tells us that we need to do more. What is the governing body even saying? If Heart of Lions is not saying that, has the governing body demanded something from Heart of Lions? What are the journalists also saying? I think we are doing our best as journalists. We are punching the holes as journalists. We are asking the questions, but the people that are supposed to take the actions are not taking the actions. Have we had any official communique from the GFA? As a matter of fact, when these two Sudanese from Kotoko also went, what did the GFA also say about this? If the GFA cannot say anything about this, what is the Ministry of Sports also saying about this? Sedi, we are behind by over 20 years.
But when you say Ministry of Sports, it's,
I thought that is a bit...
Yeah, it's a bit far-reaching.
I feel, yeah.
You've jumped over the NSA, I've got to the Ministry.
Sedi, all of them are inclusive.
No, but how, okay.
All of them inclusive.
Okay, okay, all of them are inclusive. I wanted to ask, what would you want the Ministry and then the NSA, and to some extent even the GFA to do about this? Because the GFA have been having this kind of want to look away, look over kind of thing, relationship with the GPL. So I just really want to understand. They are stakeholders, but we like to see what they will do. In talking about them, they get to play in an FA Cup match over the weekend. Yeah, they play True Life. True Life. They need life in their team. The goalkeeper we are talking about has won Goalkeeper of the Month award before. He is, if there were to still be in existence of Black Galaxies, that is Black Star B. He is the goalkeeper of
number
the
one
team. Hey, Ghana. Yeah, they are doing the most. Anyways, guys, we just mentioned True Life, Heart of Lions for FA Cup. Which FA Cup game are you looking forward to? Or Nana Kwame, are you now that Kotoko is one of the biggest teams in here? They get to face.
Ediana Stars. That to be very FC. Sorry.
Yeah,
that
very very difficult game.
Very difficult game for Kotoko. It could go either way. I won't be surprised if either of them is very 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 close to call, because we saw what happened at the Babaya Stadium the last time Ediana turned up in Kumasi, and you know Ediana's away record is very very good. So I would say that it's 50-50. It's going to be a very tough affair, because it may well end up being both teams' only route into continental football, and they are probably the only route to winning anything trophy related, because Mediama is running away with the league as far as I'm concerned. So I'll be looking forward to that game. And also Inter Allies versus Dreams FC at the Tuba Sports Stadium, another match I would be looking forward to.
Inter Allies versus Dreams.
Yes.
That draw is very tasty. Tasty for all the political reasons. You can continue.
I'm not that.
I'll tell you. I'll just let everyone know. It's tasty for the political reasons. Yes, there's politics in football, not your regular party politics. There's politics in football, and this particular clash. Oh, if we found a way to even make Inter Allies play in the GPL, this is a clash that I'll never miss in person. Nah. Can continue.
Oh, those are the two games I'll be looking forward to for various reasons, both footballing and political. So.
Okay. Jesse, Mediama, like Nakwame said, are running away with the league. As it stands, their coach is also, Coach Stanko, I agree to you. Yeah, he's my senior man. Speaks exceptional German. But currently, the assistant coach is training the team. He's on ambassadorial duties. He's doing Dortmund duties for now. So he has been in town, and he'll be in town for a while till he'll go back. And his team plays Summertex in that round of 16 game in the FA Cup. Looking forward to that. What are you expecting? It's a derby in that part of the world.
I think quality-wise, I think Mediama have shown us some top quality this season. You can see what they are doing with the league. I think for what we are seeing in the league so far, it's enough to say that they are almost running away with the league. They have it in hand, especially when you saw from the start of the season, the kind of tough time that Ediana gave them. You could have thought that was going to be a two-way league. But then, however, Mediama found a way to, let's say, run away with the league. I think that psychologically, they shouldn't use that as a yardstick to downplay the FA Cup, because feeling at the top of the league can be a psychological form of something that is going to lead them to go down in the FA Cup. But I believe that Ibrahim Tanko is someone who is very ambitious. He's a winner, and then he's not going to take that for granted. In his absence, if a coach steps in for him, it tells you what he has built. It tells you the level of a sustainable project he has given to Mediama. Because if a coach can confidently step away from the team and gives the team to the assistant coach and he's comfortable, it tells you that this is a project that the players have come to understand, and then they'll be able to execute it. Personally, for me, it's going to be a difficult one, because these two were proper rivals in some seasons back. And then this match gives Summertex also the opportunity to struggle for a trophy this season. It's going to be a difficult one for me, Sedi, but I'm tipping Mediama to go a little bit past the Summertex.
Okay, tipping Mediama to go a little bit past Summertex. Mediama are still selling, yeah. Teams are selling players as the league is going on. That is how we like it in the town. That is how we like it in the town. But then again, I would like to appreciate or commend Mediama for a couple of things they do. They have instituted their own player of the month, and they have the sponsors. And the sponsors, if I mention it, might look trivial, but it's something. It's a step in the right direction. You've got your very huge traditional clubs now trying to catch up.
Trying to catch on, yeah.
It's a boutique that sponsors their player of the month, and for this month, you can go onto their socials and then vote. So Salim Adams, Manuel Mante, and then Kingsley Braille. Yeah, Charlie. You people need to go and vote, right? Vote so that they'll get some. You don't want to go and vote.
Oh, I have somebody in. I
No, that is for them.
Yes, I know who I would vote for if I were to be.
No, so you are going to vote.
Oh yes.
No way, you vote. You vote. Yeah, you vote. My director too vote. Yeah, you vote. Yeah, my director, you vote. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's move the conversation along. Let's talk. Black Queens. Congratulations. Now you guys are getting the games that you guys have always requested for the warm-up games. You are getting something similar, something that the Black Stars will not even get going into the World Cup. You are going to play in a tournament, so we wish you all the best of luck. Let's combine that together with the Princesses are playing over the weekend as well. Guys, women's football, are we doing better in that angle compared to men's football? Jesse, let me start off with you.
Better in that angle compared to men's football. I believe that for some years past, we have been very particular about the kind of treatment given to women's football in our country, because as a matter of fact, we believe that the women's football have given us some sort of glory as compared to the men's football in recent times. Even if they don't give you trophies, there are some decent football that they are going to play for you that gives you certain promises that no, if we are doing things right, we could get there. And then this is something that we have campaigned for some time now. So to get this comeback, we are very happy to get the friendly matches that they need to prepare ahead of tournaments. It's something very commendable, and then we are supporting that very, very good. So I believe that this is a preparation ground for the Queens and the Princesses themselves to be able to build themselves up going into tournaments and then give us the result that we are expecting. For Kim Lars Bjorkegren, I think that so far so good. He has gelled perfectly with the team as compared to he initially coming into the team. This gives him added advantage going into the WAFCON, and then hopefully we can get to the semi-finals and then make a feature in the Women's World Cup that is going to come.
Nana Kwame, quick one. Princesses, Black Queens, we are doing better. Are we actually doing better with the women's game? Do we need to now just throw more light, or they deserve what they get, and even we are underserving them?
I think per the results, they are doing better than the male counterparts. In fact, for all the shortcomings of this current Keto Kreko administration, women's football is not one of them. I would say they are doing, it is one sector of the footballing ecosystem that they are doing better than the previous Kwesi Nyantakyi administration, in my opinion. So I would say that yes, it is good they are getting the support they need. It's good that they are getting the like you said, the matches, the friendlies and all of that. But I think we should do more, and especially for the local leagues. The women's Malta Guinness Premier League. Yes, Malta Guinness has come on board and is supporting, but we should at least increase the support, increase the visibility in my opinion. But regarding the Black Queens, like Jesse said, it was a interesting. I won't call it a surprise. It was very interesting to see the 4-nation tournament against Russia, Hong Kong. It was like,
and Tanzania.
Oh yes, in Tanzania. Good preparatory games ahead of the tournament, and I would bid them good luck. For the Princesses, it's not going to be easy at all. It's South Africa, and unfortunately, the first leg is in Ghana here. So we would have to get the job done here and complete it in South Africa, even though it won't be easy at all. We bid both teams good luck, especially the Black Princesses who play on Sunday.
Yeah, the Black Princesses play on Sunday. It's free gates. Please come through. 3 p.m. Come through. Let's watch football. Come. 3 p.m. It's free. Oh, don't do this. You're not doing this. Show is brought to you, kind of scarcely tell you so. Betway and Jibu Water. We'll be right back after this break. The break. This is still Off the Cuff right here on MX24 TV. Remember, we're streaming live on X at MX24 GH. My name is Sedinam Edmond, and we're here. Yeah, we're live. So the guys are here. The Kep brothers, all in white. Yeah. Nana Kwame on the other side, and Jesse close to me. Guys, let's delve straight into it. Let's talk about the transfer window. It's ended. Very minimal players moved, but my question is simple to both of you. Who had the best deal? Is it a club? Is it a player? For you, who had the best deal? Jesse.
I'll go for Antoine Semenyo. I'll go for Antoine Semenyo. In terms of sporting-wise, what he has added to Manchester City, I mean, he came under a lot of controversy as to how he's not going to fit into that Manchester City puzzle, but then you could see he's gelling well, and then so far so good. Usually what goes into if a deal has been successful or if the success of the project corresponds to the amount of money that went into the deal is the player's productivity. So far so good. He has been doing very well with Manchester City, giving them the goals and what we expect. That is exactly what he has given for them. And then even beyond the goals and then the numbers, you could see how integral he is to the system of Pep Guardiola. Now that he's transitioning from a totally controlled, dominated side in possession to a much transitional side, he adds a lot to that Manchester City setup. So I believe that Manchester City currently, as of where we stand, we can say that they are getting the value for their money. So we'll be able to give a full verdict at the end of the season. But so far, so good. He has been my most impressive signings in the winter transfer.
All right. Now, Kwame, same question.
Sticking with Man City, because I believe they won the winter transfer window. A boring transfer window, in my opinion. But I'll look at the other side of the Man City team. Defense. They brought in McGahey for £20 million for Crystal Palace. An amount that is way, way less than usual, but we all know it's because of the contract situation. But the reason why I say that's the best deal is because you look at the City defense, especially the centre-back options. Most of them are injured. Yeah. John Stones, injured, gone. Gvardiol, injured. I'll be surprised if I see him play another match for Man City until the World Cup. I'll be surprised. Ruben Diaz might come back. So they needed a centre-back very badly because you are not going to win the league with Nathan Ake, Kusanov, and Max Alain at the back. It was not going to happen. And even to think more long-term beyond the season, a centre-back partnership of Ruben Diaz and McGahey is a very serious centre-back partnership. It makes Man City a stronger team defensively and a team that is harder to beat. They might have shortcomings. They might have problems. The team has a bit of problems. But right now, they are defensively stronger, as we saw against Wolves. And as we saw against Tottenham, yes, they conceded 2 goals, of which one of the goals was a foul, in my opinion. But they are a more defensively stable side than before.
Okay, so they are more defensively stable side than before. None of them went for any of the other leagues, because it looks like the other leagues too, they were sleeping. Barcelona was sleeping, but Atletico got some signings. They got in Lookman, and then they shipped out Gallagher. And Madrid, they were sleeping. But let's now just digress into, since we are mentioning Spanish clubs, let's digress quickly and talk about the Spanish league. The top 3 look to have taken a certain stand. Producer, if you can actually just throw the mid portion, the mid-rip portion of the La Liga on the screen, where between number 8, Real Sociedad, to Rayo Vallecano, the point difference is less than what it normally is. As of now, the team Rayo Vallecano have got an interesting build-up of points, despite where they lie. They might lie 18th, meaning they are the ones starting the whole conversation around the bottom clubs. They have 22 points. And then you've got Real Sociedad, who lie 8th. They have 28 points. So between number 8 and number 18, which is some 10 positions, You've got how many points separating them?
4.
Yes. No, it's not 4. 28 and then
So
22.
6.
6.
Yeah. So you've got 6 points. Guys, quickly, what does this tell us about the La Liga? Is it that the top 3 have separated themselves so much, or it's getting much more competitive at the mid portion? Or it's getting worse, hence all the teams are clasping together? Now, Kwame.
It's getting worse. Minus the, you say top 3, I say top 2 and 1 on serious club, Atletico Madrid. And the reason why I say that, to say it perfectly, they are wallowing in mediocrity. Simeone has overstayed. He should go. That agenda, I will not drop it. But going to your question,
Yeah.
the midpoint, I hope Javier Tebas is sitting wherever he's sitting and is happy with himself. Because the policies that he brought on, it's not, the word is not, it's not good for a team that is the non-top 3, or should I say non-top 4. Because that 1-to-1 rule that he claims, the idea was to foster financial equality.
Yeah.
It's rather to keep the poorer clubs poor and the richer clubs rich. See the amount of money Atletico Madrid have spent. See the amount of money Barcelona spent last summer, Real Madrid. Can a team like Levante do that? Can a team like Osasuna, Real Oviedo do that? No. In fact, you look beyond Barcelona, Real Madrid. Look at mid-table teams in England.
Okay.
A team like Crystal Palace spent 50 million for
A striker that has scored 1 goal.
for Jürgen Strand-Larsen.
1 goal.
I give Levante 5 years. They will not be able to spend that. Osasuna, 5 years. In fact, they will not be able. And why? Because of that 1-to-1 rule. If I were Tebas, I would scrap it or I would amend it. The rule that is meant to rein in the bigger clubs like Barcelona and Atletico Madrid spent 100 plus million in the last 6 months. And look at, they are not even able to be spending players. Sunderland are taking players from Getafe. How? How is that possible? It's making the league poorer, and we are seeing it on the table. 5 points gap. People say it's competitive, but I don't see it. Well, if you say it's competitive, maybe competition in mediocrity, in my opinion.
Okay, I was trying to pull up the number of players that Atletico have signed in recent times. If I tell you that Atletico have signed close to $500 million, they've spent close to $500 million on players, would you believe? Yeah, but they are where they are. But just quickly, let me come to you.
That is why I say they're not serious. Part of the reasons.
Jesse, let's talk about La Liga. That mid-block. You look at even the team that's way high up there, and you think with this kind of points, that's even the person placing 6th currently. If that point number 34, sometimes in the EPL, it will get you close to the relegation zone. But in the La Liga as it stands, after 22 games, you are sitting 6th with 34 points. Then we look at Sociedad, Osasuna, Alaves, Athletic Club de Bilbao, Girona, Elche, Mallorca, Sevilla, Valencia, Getafe, and then Vallecano, all in that mix. Is it also getting worse, or is the league is getting more competitive?
I think
or the top 3, even Barcelona is broke, but it's part of the top 3. They've run away.
I think it's getting worse. I agree with Nana Kwame, and then it's not getting worse only because of the financial policies that Javier Tebas have initiated, but it's also getting worse because of the comfortability of the administrators of these teams lying in the mid-table. I think that they have not been so vociferous enough, because some of these things, they need to come out of their comfort zone and voice out. How many of these players can afford to buy a player from the English Premier League?
I mean, how many of these teams?
These teams, they don't even have that pull. When was the last time you saw a Levante club go out to the English Premier League to purchase a player? It doesn't even happen. It can't happen because of this financial stuff that have been imposed on these teams. If I sit here somewhere in Accra and I've been able to identify that these are some of the stumbling blocks that are going against these teams, I'm sure that a Levante president, a Mallorca president, should be able to know better and then go against the tenets of Javier Tebas. I believe that even with the financial initiation being put in place, it has affected teams like FC Barcelona. We have struggled. And even as much as we have struggled, we are able to fall back on the academy of Barcelona, the La Masia. Lamine Yamal for zero euros. A lot of players coming into the team from the La Masia. So we can say that we have heavily fallen back on the La Masia to save Barcelona. And also with the kind of history backing Barcelona, with the kind of history backing Real Madrid, with the kind of history backing Atletico Madrid, it has given them that sort of pull. That gives them the opportunity to get players come into their team. But for that, they are also going to be wallowing in the same pool that these teams are wallowing in. I believe that this falls down solely on the administration of La Liga, headed by Javier Tebas, and a lot needs to be done about that. Some years back, heavy investment went into the English Premier League. How many of these investments have even been proposed to the Spanish La Liga? Because the measures in the La Liga have been so rigid that doesn't allow investors to even come in. Meanwhile, we are talking about Spanish football, and we are talking about one country that has one of the best football and philosophies in the world. You can't talk about downplay the talent associated with these teams. A lot of talented players. Where did Brian Zaragoza come from? These players are coming from better teams in the Spanish La Liga. But then they are not able to project themselves out there because of stringent financial measures put in place by Javier Tebas. A lot needs to be done.
Wonderful. You mentioned transfers. Now, let me really give you interesting perspective. So, let me pull the table up, and I'll tell you the transfers they did over the window and the amount that they spent. Okay, we'll do that exercise quickly. Do we start from Real Betis, or we start from Sociedad?
Any.
Okay, so we'll start from Sociedad, who are 8th. The Real Sociedad actually, they made a loan. They brought in Wesley on loan. So Real Sociedad brought in Wesley on loan. Now you are looking for Osasuna's transfer for the period, which is the January transfer window, and they brought in Moro for 5 million. And also Javier Gallan for 500,000. And then you find Alave. I don't know why you guys are already laughing, but Alave actually did not. They signed also Angel Perez for 1 million, and then loaned Ibrahim Diabate and then Koski. So they have loaned them, and then they allowed one end of loan also to go. Then you get to Athletic Club. Athletic Club, you know, they are from the Basque region, and in such a time, or at such a time, they did not bring in. They brought in Shelton Sanchez, also Kule, like that.
I think of the teams we see on there.
Yeah.
I think the team that spends the most was Sevilla. And even that was what? Neil Mope. Asa.
No, but even when you say Sevilla, Neil Mope is a loan.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get to. Neil Mope is a loan. Hirona spent 150,000 on
I saw one
Ferran
graphic.
Beltran.
I saw one graphic.
Yeah, so that's the kind of money they are spending. Levante spending 200,000. And I'm not talking about pound sterling, I'm talking about euros.
I saw a graphic similar that comparing the net spends of the teams per league.
Yeah.
La Liga in total was what, 13 million
Yeah. Because
in the last transfer window. Premier League was almost 500 million.
Yeah.
That is the gulf, and it's affecting them in Europe. Right now, you see the teams in Europe. Villarreal are falling down the wayside.
Yeah.
Atletico and Real Madrid are in playoffs. You look at the Europa League. Celta Vigo, playoff. Conference League 2 is only left with Rayo Vallecano. Problem.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's what's happening. But now I even dare want to start. Nobody should come for me on this. I'm speaking from a statistical point of view. I even dare want to compare the league, who had fallen off thanks to the works of hedge funds to the La Liga at this point. Because, Chairman, what is this? What is this? What is this? Anyways, guys, we've touched on the La Liga, guys. We have tried to understand what is happening with them. Let's get into the EPL, and let's talk about quickly 2 games that will be happening. Let's start off with that particular one. Now, Kwame, will Spurs be able to actually stop this counter-attacking approach from Carrick?
They can. They can if they, how let me say it, people, make the game frustrating and gritty. Because Man United historically are not all that, let me say, conducive to use. If I use the wrong word, forgive me. It's not conducive against teams that make it gritty, make it frustrating. So if Tottenham do it like that, they have a chance. But if they don't, if they try and play like they played against Man City in the first half, and United scored the first goal, problem, because doubt might creep in, doubt might set in. We've seen countless occasions where Tottenham have had self-doubt and they end up imploding. I would say the first goal is very, very important in this game.
Okay.
On the part of United, cut out the set pieces and then the crosses, because Tottenham thrive on crosses. Solanke is back. The crosses and the set pieces will be very, very important for them. But I would say United are slight favorites, but anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Jesse, we have another big game, Liverpool versus Manchester City. Is it going to be another end-to-end blockbuster, or is it going to be one way this time?
We used to see the end-to-end blockbuster with the young club, but then I don't think we have seen any yet with Arne Slot, especially with the resurgence of Liverpool. I think that Pep Guardiola is trying to chase the league, especially with the trajectory that Arsenal is riding on. I think Arsenal are riding on a very good one, and then they might even want to extend their lead against Sunderland this weekend. So that's enough motivation for Manchester City to ride on, and especially what they did with Newcastle gives them an enough booster to go into this game to get a result. I think that Liverpool are trying, but then the defensive issues are still there. They still need defensive solutions to the problems that they are facing. And I think that Manchester City are good enough to exploit that defensive problems of Liverpool. So I'm expecting a slight, although it's going to be an end-to-end game, I'm expecting a slight advantage given to Manchester City. I want to touch a little bit on the Manchester United.
Why do you want to go outside? Hurry up, we have to get into
a little bit. If Papa Matassa starts for Tottenham Hotspur, they win it.
That's a prophecy. We know how prophecies have gone recently.
Can I also...
Okay, you also want to go?
Yes, the
quickly,
Liverpool one.
10 seconds.
Slot, don't start Soboslai in the right back. Play him in the midfield, because that is where you can get the advantage over City. Unlike Jesse, I'm not giving City that advantage. They haven't won at Anfield since 2021, and even that was when Liverpool had 0 fit defenders and 0 crowd.
Yo, no problem.
I would, in as much as it, I would give Liverpool a slight advantage in this game.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they've had their say, but now we'll get into FPL Clinic. And the FPL Clinic today, we are building up to something nice. Remember that we have midweek action as well. There's midweek action after these round of games. So it's likely for you to consider it as a double game week, so think of it as such. Let's recap a couple of things that happened quickly over the previous weekend, where Chelsea decided to do a remontada and came back to beat the team West Ham by 3-2. They were down by 2-0 at halftime, and then went back into the game second half and did something really exciting. Liverpool actually also beat all their doubters by silencing them with that emphatic win over Newcastle 4-1. It ended in that one. Ekitike had exciting goals in here. I'm mentioning some names, so take note of them. Ekitike had exciting games here. And also consider Bruno. Bruno has now been playing in a certain position which allows him to be providing a lot of assists. And he's been touted as possibly being able to break that assist record which has been created in the EPL by the man Yes, Kevin De Bruyne. But we'll see how that happens. Haaland actually came back and actually recorded an assist versus Spurs, but it was his sixth goalless game in the last 7 game weeks. Now, let's get into games that you should target for the weekend. Chelsea versus Wolves is a game that you need to target because any team that plays Wolves, it's a game that if they have very, very potent attackers and sharp midfielders, you could take advantage of. So look at certain Chelsea players and look at how you could take advantage of that game. Let's get into some player recommendations, and the first player I would recommend is the resurgent Joao Pedro. Yes, resurgent Joao Pedro. I'm being tempted to do something, but I'll keep it that way. So resurgent Joao Pedro. Chelsea play Wolverhampton Wanderers, Leeds, and then Burnley next. All winnable games to continue the reign or the unbeaten league reign of their coach. That is Liam Rosina. And the man, Joao Pedro is someone you should consider in that regard. Also consider Igo Thiago, who plays or applies his trade for the team. Brentford, yes, Brentford play Newcastle, but we know how Newcastle's defense has been recently. Arsenal, they can actually ruffle feathers with them as well, and he has been scoring for fun. He's the second highest scorer in the league this season. And one thing you need to put into priority this weekend is number one, everyone should be good for an Arsenal triple players in your team. Yeah, so have triple players, from Arsenal in your team, because at this point they are running away with the league and playing in a very defensive mode. With City playing Liverpool this week, it could be an opportunity to get creative with your captains. That is what takes me to captaincy options. Look at the man, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes playing for the team of Manchester United. They play against Tottenham Hotspur, West Ham, and then Everton. He has been playing very, very beautifully. He has had 5 assists and 32 FPL points in the last 4 games. So imagine that being multiplied by 2 for your captain. And also another player, normally I don't like to consider defenders, but looking at how shrewd Arsenal have been with their defense, Gabriel Magalhaes is one person you can consider. Sunderland have not been the same since the absence of their key man. He's not their striker. He's the man who pulls all the strings in midfield for them. That is Xhaka. Xhaka has been out injured for a bit, and Sunderland have not been the same. So you can actually consider the man for this week. That is Gabriel Magalhaes. And quick differentials for you. If you've not got a KTK in your team, you can consider him. You can also consider Elliot Anderson. He's coming back into his stride. Somerville. Yes, Somerville has really picked form after the whole FA Cup weekend. And certainly James Hill, he plays for Aston Villa. Yes, James Hill. James Hill is one player you actually could consider in that regard. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's as far as that is concerned with regards to FPL Clinic. But before we run out of here, I've got one quick question for you guys. Quick one. Paris Saint-Germain are playing Marseille this weekend. Is Marseille the team to put the brakes on Paris Saint-Germain?
No. Because PSG are going for the Liga title. They are still fighting with surprise package Lyon. Lens. And they would want to continue that battle. That's one. And 2, remember, there is the corresponding fixture. Marseille won because the Ballon d'Or was going on. There was no Dembele, no Hakimi, and certain players were missing. And the Marseille fans forgot about that and still said, we beat PSG. I don't think so. I don't think PSG are coming for revenge, and they want to continue the battle for the league title. So I would say PSG will win at the Parc des Princes.
Okay, Jesse.
I think Marseille have mastered the satanic art of trying to frustrate PSG, but not today. Not today. I think PSG are going to edge past Marseille at the end of the fixture.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for coming. Greetings to everyone in your house. Greetings to everyone also in your house. Greetings to all your cousins.
Can I give one? FPL advice. Since you mentioned Chelsea forward, Garnacho.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is advice you should avoid at all costs at this point in time. That is a very sarcastic advice. Boys and girls, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, enjoy the basketball, enjoy the Super Bowl 60. We're back on Monday to wrap it all up for you. My name is Sedina Medmond. I've been here with Jesse Ankra and Nana Kwame Osei. To you, muchas gracias for watching. And also to the entire production crew for putting this together. But for now, hey, adios.